was this a coming of age of the Timberwolves, or was this a matter of the Suns just being one of the weakest matchups that they could have taken on? What do you see from this win and that the Timberwolves have had? What do you think of Anthony Edwards? What are your thoughts in the aftermath of this series?
I mean, maybe a little of both. I mean, Anthony Edwards is fantastic. I mean, I don't think anybody can dispute that. His star is on the ascent, and very quickly. I do think it was the T-Wolves taking another step in terms of a franchise that is going to be looking to win something either this year or in the very near future, right? Because I think they have a shot. I must apologize. The Suns had success against them in the regular season, so I thought that had a shot to carry over into the postseason. Clearly, I was wrong. The Suns, that was just embarrassing. So I think it's a little of both. I'm not taking anything away from the T-Wolves and how physical they are and how long they are and how they can sit down and guard and some of the problems that they pose offensively with Cat and Anthony Edwards, but the Suns were bad too. And so I think it's a little bit of both. And as far as the T-Wolves go, before I put my foot in my mouth and said that the Suns were going to beat them, I mean,
those damn predictions, Howard. Damn predictions.
They'll fucking get you every time. But before I said that dumb shit, I had said that nobody was going to want to see the T-Wolves. And so, I would get it if people don't allow me to get back to that. And so I won't. But I would just remind people that I said it. They're a problem. They're a problem with Cat. With Cat, they're a problem. Without him, I didn't think they'd have, much of a fighting chance. But with him, they're a problem. And uniquely sorry to, I don't mean to dominate this because I know everybody wants to talk, but for if they were to see the Nuggets in the next round, have some interesting matchups, for the Nuggets in ways that other teams might not.
One of the things that I saw, last night, that this is elevating Roger's point. One of the things that I saw from the Timberwolves last night, we always talk about a team taking on the personality of its best player, and also how hard it is to close out a sweep or just close out a series in general. It's just really hard no matter what. And one thing that I saw from the Timberwolves was they matched every run that the Phoenix Suns made down the stretch of that game. Every single time that the Suns got within striking distance, they got it to within, maybe take a 1-point lead or get it to within a point or so. The Timberwolves always had an answer. A lot of that had to do with Ant, but I felt like the team kind of fed off of him, right? And that's something that I have seen from the Timberwolves pretty much all season. But when you talk about taking that next step, and that was the question that we had not only for the Timberwolves, but for the Thunder. Like, if they can take this next step, the Thunder have done that, but specifically in regards to this series, the Timberwolves, I feel like they are answering every question thus far of that has been, brought to them. And I think that, they're by all intents and purposes, they're, probably going to get the Nuggets next series. What questions were answered for you when it comes to this team? And if they have the Nuggets in the next series, what are some of the things that you saw from this series that could make them successful going into the next series and maybe beyond?
Well, the first question that was answered is, I guess now we know why Glenn Taylor's doing everything possible to hang on to this team and not,
hell yeah, not
just pass it along to Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lowry. He's been there for due to maybe a lot of his own crappy decision making, but Glenn Taylor was there for 20 years of just desert, and now he wants to be there for the fun part. I get it. Still strange, but whatever.
And that value is ballooning too, by the way. That bag is getting crazy.
No small thing, right? The money part of it. But he even said, he told The Athletic a couple weeks back, he told John Krasinski, hey, we're good. I want to be here. Like, he basically just laid it right out. And like, this is it. Like, you can see it. Everything is coming together. Anthony Edwards is leaping into superstardom, almost literally. Karl Anthony Towns, massive credit to Karl Anthony Towns, right? A number 1 overall pick who was with another number 1 overall pick in Wiggins, and that never worked out. And Jimmy Butler came and went, and Gobert arrived, and he had to accommodate him. And Anthony Edwards just like explodes into stardom, and he's got to accommodate him. And I mean, this is how it should work, right? Like, Raj has already been nodding his head. Like, this is how it should work in the NBA, right? No matter how great you are, you need your teammates, and sometimes you need an even better guy next to you. And to your question, Logan, about what Anthony Edwards infuses in that team, Karl Anthony Towns is incredibly talented, but you were never going to infuse a team with the kind of edge and just ferocity and whatever. Like, Towns he's not that guy. And Anthony Edwards is. And the thing I love about Anthony Edwards in terms of his overall makeup, and you could see this over the last couple of years, even as he was just kind of like making these I don't even want to say incremental development stages. They were like everything felt like a leap. But like, there was always 2 things going on the personality side, or just his character. On the one hand, he's absolutely a killer, and all the greats are killers. They want to rip your heart out. They want to, like, that dunk last night was just absolutely just spectacular, spine tingling. They have that power to inspire their teammates and raise everybody up and to have that edge. But at the same time, he's like playful. He's fun. He's not kind of like the maniac that Michael could be or that Kobe could be at times. Like, he seems like he's got a good balance there. And then Towns has just always seemed like kind of an easygoing dude. And I mean that in a good way, not in an indicting way as a star, but he needed an Anthony Edwards. So like, this is a great pairing positionally too, of course, and skill set and size and everything else. And they've done a phenomenal job, that front office, in putting together all the other pieces. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is having this kind of coming out party in this postseason. And I want to give them all the credit in the world. But this is also, as these things often are, when you beat and especially sweep a team with as many stars as the Suns have, it is both a Timberwolves achievement and a Suns indictment. And you can't divest one from the other in these situations. And people get pissed off like they did last year when it was all about the Lakers losing instead of the Nuggets winning. And I get it. We will have a lot of time left to celebrate the Timberwolves, but a large part of this too is just a flat out indictment of the Suns, of what they've built, how they've built it, and where they're going to go from here. So, we'll obviously discuss both.
I want to make sure that we're going to get to the Suns, but I do want to keep it on the Timberwolves for a moment, because I want to ask Raja this, right? Like, and I know I keep bringing up Anthony Edwards, man, but like, when I watched last night and I think it started after the dunk when he dunked on. Did he catch Beal and then Durant got out of the way, right? I think that was the dunk.
KD made a business decision on that.
Which was wild, because KD can't be a rim protector at some points, but he was like, I don't want no parts of this shit. Bye. I don't want no. And I was pumped. I listened to Dot on Like That like 78 times last night. I was ready to go, and then so forgive me for the Like That references, but they're going to keep coming this podcast episode, because it's like that. And so to Raja, when you see Anthony Edwards, and I think there was another part of after the game when he's talking to, building on what Howard said, he was talking to Chuck and all the guys, and they asked him about his thing with Kevin in the one-on-one, and he was like, yeah, man, like, I love Kevin. I got all of these, I've loved him since I was 5 years old, but fuck that, basically, right? What have you been seeing from the changing of the guard from these youngins, right? Because I think when you think of that Anthony Edwards trajectory, he's starting to take on now everything that we thought Ja Morant was going to be, right? Where we thought it was, and Ja still has a bunch of talent and has all of those things, and he still has time, but he has everything that Ja has. He has the signature shoe, now he is having the wins, and he's having the signature postseason wins. What have you seen from that changing of the guard at this point, right? From where we're at as a league? First of all, let me start by saying I will reiterate that he might be the most athletic person on the planet. I mean, he is.
he is just a twitched up, super freaky athlete. Like that first step, the dunk that you're talking about, when he's got Brad Beal on the left wing and he tweens, right? Like he like bops, but Brad wasn't out of position when he went, like when he hit him with the bop, like the tap, like Brad didn't really shift. That dude just said, in my left hand, I'm just going to go. And when I go, you can't
you're gonna come with me
there, but you're not going to be there. And that's what he did. He went tween. Brad was still there, and he said, okay, fuck it, here I go. And he went. And then it
was like
up.
Kobe, Jordan, fucking, like, it was like all the all-time greats in one dunk, right? Like, and everybody in the arena knew it was coming too, bro. It was nasty.
Most people, when they make that move, if they do not shift you to the right, right? Like, he's making that move to try to shift you to the right so it'll open up his left hand. Most people, if they can't shift you a little bit, you are at least in the play in a way that he can't take off like that. Does that make sense? Like, he might still have you beat, but you're so close to his feet that he doesn't have a chance to really get up like that. That dude is just athletically, you could put him on an NFL field with what linebackers do and DBs do, and some of these big ass people running 4.4s. Like I would put him in a conversation athletically.
When you talk about the athleticism, when we see this, and I think I can, and I want to. And this is going back to the comparison with Ja. When I see the athleticism, it's also paired with great timing and shot making that we're seeing now, down the stretch right now. Like he's just, Anthony Edwards just he'll take the three, it's just utter will that he is putting on the opponent right now.
Yeah, well, forgive me if I made it sound like he didn't have any of those things. Like,
no. I'm just adding to your point.
Yeah, his skill is remarkable. His confidence and moxie in the moments that a team needs him to have him in to take the step that we're talking about the T-Wolves taking. That's been incredible to witness him continue to grow in that regard. So like all of that's intact too. I just marvel at the athleticism part. Sorry, I get stuck on that. But in terms of the passing of the torch or the changing of the guard, human nature for the older guy is to hang on to that and to keep mind control as long as he can keep it. If you ain't going to take it, I'm going to keep it. And most of the time it takes a young player a year or 2 years. They think they want it, but they're not really ready to kill the king. Like, they're not ready to do what that's dirty work to put your favorite player in a bag and send him home. Like that pack him up like that. That's dirty work. There's a lot of emotion that goes into that. That's your idol. And so usually for the first year or two, whether they know it or not, there's a little bit of like reservation about that. It's in your subconscious somewhere.
I feel like remember when Iverson first got Jordan on the switch and he gave him one, but if you look at Iverson's all 96, 97 highlight tape, he was fucking motherfuckers up with the crossover, right? He gave Jordan the crossover, but that wasn't even in his top 100 crossovers of the season. Right? Like he gave him like a little okay, it was a little I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, he just said, it's time. I'm ready. I want it now. Like it's mine. Whether you guys knew it or not, and I might have last year, I didn't have a chip, but now this shit is mine. And that's the cycle of life.
Yeah, but there's also a difference, guys, between Iverson crossing up Jordan or Anthony Edwards showing up KD in this series. There's a difference between those individual moments where it's like it's my time and watch me go versus actually winning, right? And it took Iverson a long time to win, and it was fleeting, right? One finals run, not much postseason success in the rest of Iverson's career. I know we don't talk about that, whatever. It's all lining up. It's not just the individual moments of showing my dominance, my time. Here we go. He's winning too. He's leading. He's doing all of it. And the dude's a two-way force besides. Also, not for nothing, and it's small sample size. It's 4 playoff games, and the last couple of years they've been 1 and out. So these are all small sample sizes. But like Anthony Edwards turns it on in the playoffs, and you can see it. Like look at his numbers right now versus the regular season. And I know 4 games versus however many he played, but still he's ready. He's here. And there's also just this other piece too. And again, I'm going to bring it back to like the broad view here. not to diminish at all the fact that Anthony Edwards is seizing the moment and saying it's my time. And yeah, Durant is starting to age out, but Devin Booker's still in his prime. And a lot of what we just saw was the triumph of team, not the triumph of individual. This was not Anthony Edwards beating Kevin Durant as much as it was a really well-built and younger, deeper Timberwolves team versus a Suns team that was slapped together without any thought whatsoever, top heavy, no depth, no size, no point guard. And Kevin Durant is going to be 36 in September. But all that said, it's fair to say too, if Kevin Durant at 35 now, we're still as spry, as dominant as he was at 27, 28, maybe he's enough of a singular force to turn this even without the supporting cast. But like in this league, it's especially at this time of year, man, like it's so much about whether you've got the right pieces around the stars, and the Timberwolves are just better built.
Oh, much better basketball team. Not even a question but I would still, you're correct. I would still say within that team, your star has to take the step for the team.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like psychologically.
If he doesn't, the team doesn't.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah.